Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Today we're going to be talking about an old tool, something that we haven't been able to do for a while because I've been busy on projects trying to rebuild houses and things. So I get back to the thing that I like the best. We're going to be talking about a Swan beam drilling machine. It's a hand crank machine, very similar to the one that I worked on before. I'll take you through the steps that I'm going through when I rebuild something, how I evaluate it, changes that I make to it, and trying to bring it back into user condition. This is a beam drilling machine. It has seen a hard life. The screws that normally hold those caps on have been brazed in place for some reason. This area right here has worn down to the point that they put a shim underneath it just to get the gears to line up with the bevel gear, the bevel drive gear. The rack gear that this engages with is missing. So I'm going to have to make up a new rack gear. I'm going to disassemble these bushings and see if I can't make this a little tighter and make this run better. I'm going to heat up and remove these brackets that hold this shaft in place so that I can get those bolt holes repaired and see if I can't get this back to where it's normally supposed to be. The frame, the wooden frame for this is in the basement. I have the steel guide rails here. They're pretty worn and this one's bent. But I think, all in all, it's salvageable. It won't be easy, but what's the fun in doing easy stuff? I've found over the years that when I'm disassembling things, it's awful easy to get parts misplaced. So I've taken to putting them in Ziploc bags. And if it takes very long to do the actual disassembly and reassembly, I'll take a magic marker and mark on the outside of the Ziploc bag what it contains. What piece of equipment it came from, what's the general use. I also use these videos that I'm taking now as a kind of a work instruction on how to disassemble and reassemble it. Oh, that bearing's loose as a goose. I think if I had been given the option of either putting a shim on this or repairing it in another way, I probably would have traded this for that one. This one's had a lot of side load on it over the years. And you can see that the shaft itself is worn quite a bit. I'm sure part of that is from the bevel gear. Bevel gears put a side load on a shaft. They tend to push it away from the bevel gear, which would make it so it didn't want to engage correctly. And this one has enough clearance in there that I can drop a screwdriver in there easily. Very badly scored. It's worn down about 1/16 of an inch. So I'll probably end up pressing this gear off of there and then rebuilding this shaft back up to the size it's supposed to be, plus a little. Then I'll end up line boring these two holes. I'll put the plates back in position. This one somebody ground off one side in an effort to tighten up the bearing, which is never a good policy. I'll rebuild these bores. Considering how screwed up this shaft is, it might be better to just replace the whole shaft. That way I can go oversize on that, line bore these to a larger size, and bring this back into working condition. As it is right now, it's in pretty sad shape. Someone worked on this and didn't know what they were doing. They were having problems with the screws coming loose, I would imagine, and rather than putting a lock washer on it or a lock nut in the back, they brazed the heads onto the bearing caps. Now, there's a lot of things you could have done. That was not the best. So what I think I'm going to have to do, because they've swept the braze down into the threads of the thing, probably going to have to cut the heads off and maybe drill out the screws a little bit in order to get them to come loose. But we can make that happen too. Thanks for watching another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Don't forget to click like. It lets me and everyone else know that this is a good video. And if it's not, put it in the comments below and say what you'd like to see.